in the Electric Ballroom, and may I say it's quite an honor to have Punky Meadows on the line. How you doing, Punky?
Pretty good, man. It's my pleasure to be here. I'm honored.
Hey, what's going on, Punky? Great to hear from you, brother.
Yeah, it's
Same here, guys.
It's an honor to have you. You know, so I guess what have you been doing?
What I've been doing now?
Yeah, what have you been up to?
Well, I was retired. You know, I came back from L.A. in 1988, and I kind of regrouped my life again. I kind of got out of the music business because it was, you know, the whole grunge thing came in and stuff, and it was just a different scene. And I opened up a business of my own. I had a bunch of tanning salons, and I did that, and you know, didn't even pick up a guitar for a couple of years really. Did that and had a lot of fun doing that.
Wow.
And I did that for about 14 years, and then I sold businesses and did really well, and I had some property, and I went into the stock market.
Did it work out for you?
Yeah, it really did. I did really well. I was actually retired, but then of course the 2008 crash came in. And so I lost about 35% of that. But I mean, I'm still in the market. You're always in the market, and I can still do okay with that. But you know, I just was retired and was doing whatever I want to do. And right now, I'm working with some friends of mine. My neighbors next door, they have this medical compliance business, and it's about OSHA and HIPAA regulations and stuff. So I can walk to work. It's right in my neighborhood here, so I do like part-time things.
Good for you, man. That's great.
That's perfect. I mean, you know, especially, you know, this industry, even though what we love about it, it is quite a toxic industry. It's not a bad thing to walk away from.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you kind of get disenchanted after a while. You know what I mean? When you're out there, and as every band does, I guess you get screwed by managers and lawyers and all that kind of stuff. You know, and you know, things happened with Casablanca that were out of our control when the company kind of fell apart after Neil Bogart.
Yeah, that's a shame, what Neil? Yeah, I heard about that.
I mean, who actually owned the rights to the Casablanca catalog after it went south, shall we say?
Well, Polygram was the mother company of Casablanca, so they owned everything. And Neil got axed from the company for misappropriation of funds. And when he did, you know, the company was just run by a bunch of college kids and stuff, and we had just released our double live album, but you know, they weren't promoting anything. The company was falling apart, and at the same time, we were still under contract to them, so we couldn't really do anything. So our hands were tied, and that's when Angel kind of splintered off, and we did separate things. Like Greg and I went off and started some projects together, and Frank and went off and started some projects together. And Greg and I did a couple revamped Angels, and then we had one band called Legend, which was actually became Greg Giuffria's solo album later on.
I remember hearing about that. Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, we had Fergie Ferguson was a singer in the band, and David Isley was a singer in the band at one time too, and you know, we did that. But then, you know, that kind of thing, we shop deals, and then, you know, it would fall through, and there would be some promise there, but you know, it just wound up not happening. So then I just kind of fed up with the whole scene and just came back east, to LA, and.
I mean, you know, do you find it flattering that after, you know, all these years, I mean, people still have so much passion for the band? I mean, it still resonates. I mean, fan sites, people are very rabid about Angel. I mean, they love the group. I mean, you left a mark that is undeniable. People still care about it in 2014.
I think that's great. Now, what's funny about that is, you know, once I left the music business, I didn't really see what was going on. It wasn't until I went onto Facebook and I saw how much people really liked Angel. You know, before Facebook, you know, you're not really in touch with your fans, you know, so you don't know what's going on. You know, I went out there and played, and I did my thing, and I played and toured over the place, and you meet the fans then and there, but you think you're kind of forgotten about. But then when Facebook came along, and I saw all these fans, and I was just really impressed and really honored, and it makes you feel it's really all worth it. You know what I mean? Because it's really about the fans anyway. It's not, if I didn't make any money, at least I made a lot of people happy, which is cool.
Well, Punky, you're a legend. And how about that Angel fans page? I mean, that's really cool. Butch Sorrentino, you know, that's our friend, and he keeps that thing going with his partner there, Destroyer, and you know, that's always cool. I always felt it was really nice of you to you know, always put your input and give the fans, you know, something to talk about and answer questions for them, and you know, that's really cool of you, man, to do that.
Oh, I love it, man. I like to see what fans say, and they have so many pictures and things, and then they talk about a lot of stuff that I totally forgot about, and I don't have anymore. So
right.
It's really cool to go back and see it all again and check it out. And the fans are really cool. They really are so into it. And
yeah, man. I mean, Angel was just, you know, of course, you know, Angel and Kiss are my all-time favorite bands. You know, I've told you that before, and you know, you were just the ultimate rock star, man. I mean, you were one of my biggest guitar influences, and you know, it really means a lot to me. And you know, that's how I started. And you know, you're just giving fans something now, you know, and they love talking to you about this stuff. And it's really cool of you, Punky. We really appreciate it, you know?
It is cool. And you're a hot shot player yourself, Danny.
Hey, thanks, man. That's really cool. I'm glad you like the CD, too, man.
I do, man. You guys are really good, man. Whenever I work out all the time, when I work out, I put the CD on.
Wow.
Really?
Bumping the weights, you know?
Yeah. Pumping your weights to Lords of Mercy,
Wow,
man. You gotta
that's
love
really
that.
cool, man.
You know, I mean, you know, you as a kid growing up in Washington, D.C., I mean, you know, you grew up, I guess, in a town where a lot of hotshot guitar players come from, right? Roy Clark, right?
There were a lot of great. There was Danny Gatton and Roy Buchanan, who are two of the best guitar players ever.
Undoubtedly, yes. The great city of Washington, you know, when the Bullets were actually the Bullets at that point.
Exactly, and we had the Washington Senators and all that kind of stuff way back then. But yeah, Danny and Roy were friends of mine. You know, because I played in a lot of house bands. I would play in one club for like 3 years straight. We were the house band 6 nights a week and 5-6 sets a night, and
that's amazing.
Which was great. And I was kind of like I was the local guitar hero around back then because I played every single night. And then at the end of the night we'd go to after hours clubs and play in the blues clubs down there with Roy and Danny and stuff, you know. And they used to come to my house and we'd jam and stuff. Of course, I used to watch them play because they were just those two guys were just the best guitar players ever, you know. But I learned a lot of stuff from them, and it was a great time because I made a good living at doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you got a residency at 6 nights a week. I mean,
yeah,
that's a dream.
Was that at Bogey's, Punky?
No, that was actually the first one I played at was at the Silver Dollar in Georgetown. Georgetown is like Greenwich Village in New York. It's
right.
You know, where all the nightclubs are and stuff. And I did like 3 years straight in there, and then I did 3 years at the Keg, and then a couple years at the Bayou, and I was always working. I made a lot of money, and there was a lot of women, a lot of pot, and a lot of beer, and a lot of music. And I loved it. I mean, I actually had more fun, I think, doing that than when I finally made it to the big time. Even though I always wanted to get to the big stage.
Right.
You were just playing those bars. I mean, you know, you're honing in on your chops, you're learning to play, and you know, you're playing, you know, that many sets a night, and it's, you know, it just was so much fun. I used to get chills every night when I go to work because it was just a great job. You know? That's
killer. How was it opening for the Yardbirds in '66 with Jimmy Page? That was the English Setters at the time. Yeah,
they were playing at a place called the Alexandra Roller Rink in those days. They had, and it was funny because in those days. The bands didn't bring their equipment from England. They would leave, the local music store or the promoter would bring equipment in for them.
Oh yeah.
And so I was watching. We actually opened up as the English Setters and played our set, and then we backed up Neil Diamond.
Nice.
Oh, that's great.
Nice.
And so we did that, and then the Yardbirds came on, of course, and Jimmy Page was there, but he was having problems with his amplifier, and he kept, you know, going out, and he was smashing the amplifier, and it was really cool. I went backstage, you know, and we were backstage with them, and at the time they were snorting coke or something back there. I don't know what it was because I was young. I was just a kid, you know, I was like 16 or something or 17.
Wow.
And but this music store guy came back and started cussing at them because he was breaking up their amps and says, "You damn thing, go back to where you came from," and it was hilarious. But I thought they were just so cool, you know. I mean, I was just, you know, because it was Page, you know, and all those guys, man. It was just
that's so cool,
and you
man.
were, I'm sure you were quite aware of who Jimmy Page was at that point, even though it was before the Zeppelin thing, right?
Oh yeah, well yeah, and I grew up on that's what I grew up on the British blues guys, you know, the
right. I mean,
Page.
I think that's so cool that you got to open up. You know, I love Neil Diamond,
killer, man.
and I mean, you know, getting an opportunity to be his backing band.
Hey, we got to hit commercial.